That radio chick Cheryl Lee here with you. Welcome to the Still Rocking It podcast, where we'll have news, music, reviews and interviews with some of our favourite Australian musicians and artists. Today we are a fly on the wall during the filming of an interview I held recently with legendary Australian guitarist Rockin Rob Riley for the tele. A self-confessed Trekkie tragic, Rockin Rob has led a truly rock and roll life, and at the age of 70 still loves guitars, amps, playing music, motorbikes, restoring cars and trucks, and partner Robyn. From winning Hoadley's Battle of the Bands in the early 70s, a 93-date tour supporting Sherbet, 30 turbulent years with Rose Tattoo, playing the Working Class Man tour with Jimmy Barnes, and touring with the Party Boys with Richard Clapton and Shirley Strachan, Rob also played with Kevin Borich, Finish and Dallimore, certainly earning the legend status. What's Mr. Rockin Riley been up to lately? Let's find out. You're with Cheryl Lee, that radio chick, here for Mega Music TV in the immense man cave that belongs to Rockin Rob Riley, which includes his studio where he makes music and rehearses, and the garage, the workshop where he restores his cars. Thank you so much, Rob, for having us here today. Nanu. I know you're a Trekkie from way back, and that's from Morecambe Mindy, isn't it?
That's correct. That's correct.
Thank you so much for inviting us here. You're originally a Victorian, but we won't hold that against you. Born in the mountains with two brothers.
Two brothers.
Yeah, and Are they musical too, Rob?
Yes, they are. They are musical. My youngest brother's a bass player. He lives in Launceston. And he's doing quite well for himself. He's a part-time chippy and part-time muso. And my other brother has mostly retired. And I have been trying to get them together, as they're both musically, they're very, very good. And but you've got to get some people to pull their heads out of their asses sometimes, and it just gets very difficult.
Family?
Just anyone.
So is that a scoop? You heard it first here, that the Riley brothers might be getting together?
That's a scoop.
Stay tuned.
That's if we can get it going, you know.
You guys are obviously from a pretty musical family, and you knew pretty early on that music was in your DNA. Tell us about Lionel Rose, how he influenced you and got you into music at the age of 7?
7. Yeah, 7. I think it was 7, because he was fighting for the bantamweight world championship, and I remember my father taught me how to build crystal sets, like a little radio, and I was just a kid and I was loving the electronic side of things, and so we listened to the fight, and he won the championship. And to cut forward really quickly, he was a country and western lover, and he was my hero, and still is to this very day. He's fantastic, and he had this single there called Let Me Thank You, and it just absolutely killed me. That's when the bug bit.
So that set you off on your trajectory?
That absolutely did. His backing band was called the Hawking Brothers Country 5, and had a pedal steel player by the name of George Xanthos, who I met, who used to travel over here a lot some years back. But yeah, that was certainly what put me on the...
You're another heavy rock and roller who is actually a closet country music fan.
No, I am a real country fan.
I'm
no closet anything. It's all there for any arsehole to see.
Oh, good on you. You know who else loves country music? Dave Gleeson.
Yeah?
Yeah, he loves it too.
I think he picked it up off me one time.
I think he did.
He got crook. He really suffered after that, but then he came good, and all of a sudden he just loved country music. It happens to everybody. It's a beautiful thing. Country music's the best thing in the world.
I've got a soft spot for it too.
You are listening to Still Rocking It, the podcast with Cheryl Lee.
Without any further ado, I think we should hear that Lionel Rose song now, I Thank You. We'll be back shortly to be a fly on the wall at the interview with Rockin Rob Riley for Mega Music.
When a boy becomes a man, he must do the best he can.
You had about 3 years of formal training.
Yes, I was taught formally for 3 years, 2 years actually. His name was Alan Preble, and I was about 7, just coming 8. I learned till I was about 10. He had me at a point where he said, well, I can't teach you anything now. He said, you're just going to have to make sense of it yourself. That's what we all have to do. You know, the knowledge has been given, so just work on it, and we'll see how we go with your problem. And the problem just became this. So,
So David Wicks and Paul Hitchens, you meet them. Is that how you formed your first band?
I was going to school with Dave Wicks, tech school, and I was knocking around with Paul Hitchens because we used to ride motorbikes, and we used to go down to Dave Wicks's joint because he lived on a market garden down in Buddy Heatherton at the time, and we used to go down there fanging around on the motorbikes, and he'd drive cars and motorbikes. Dave said, I remember being at school one day, and he said, I got a guitar at home, an electric guitar, because I didn't have an electric guitar in those days, and he said, I got a guitar and an amp, and then he said, I got a bass too. So anyway, we were all hanging around, we all just started playing together, and Paul's sitting on the table whacking away. I said, well, it's time for you to buy a drum kit. So anyway, he went and learned to play drums, and bam, and that was our first little band.
So we've got you to thank for Paul Hitchens, who ended up drumming for the Sports.
I don't know whether he's got me to thank for that. That's a choice he made, I think. But the Sports did really, really well for themselves in the old days, and they were a big act. And just Paul now lives in Western Australia. In Perth, he still plays a bit over there, I think, but we're all getting pretty old now. So.
Hence the Legend series.
I have been called a veteran musician. Oh, yeah.
I like Legend better.
It's a nicer thing, isn't it? But
So,
anyway.
Did you guys form Lois Lane?
No.
No,
that came later in my life. That was something I did 17, 18 sort of thing. And that was with Greg Grunter Gorn on vocals, Greg Thomas keyboards, Neville Oreska on bass, and Dan, we call him Dan Solovier. Dan Solo on drums, and it was a cracking band, and we won the Hoadley battles of the band.
that's right.
In
74-ish?
Well, yeah, a bit earlier, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Early 70s.
Yeah, very early 70s.
Well done, congratulations.
And and that was what sort of like led to being introduced to John Dallimore. And from that point, he was playing in a band called Red House, and their other guitar player, Gary, I haven't thought about these people, Gary Quince, was the other guitar player, but he wanted to get out because he wanted to play more guitar solos. So, and I'm thinking to myself, geez, well, you can't play more guitar solos than the great John Dallimore. I mean, he's the guy, he's the number one.
Band's named after him, after all.
Well, that's the second point in contention is. Anyway, they came and saw me playing in Lois Lane, and JD really loved what I was doing at the time, and so he asked me to come and join his band, or Red House, and so I joined a Geelong band called Red House, and I did a 93-date Sherbet tour, photoplay tour. That was when they had How's That, and that was huge. That was 93 days, every day, in a bus with Sherbet and us. It was fantastic.
Can you remember any of it?
No, I was pissed. I was pissed from one end of it to the other. I was 19 years old. It was just ridiculous, but it was fantastic. I have some great memories of it, but it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Still Rockin' It podcast with that radio chick, Cheryl Lee. I think we'll hear from Sherbet, a track from that tour. How's that? We'll be back to speak some more with Rockin Rob Riley shortly and find out which Aussie rock legend thought Rob was too old at 29.
But then I got itchy, and I had to leave. And then anyway, I think about 6 or 8 months later, JD got a record contract with Albert's in Sydney.
As Dallimore?
As Dallimore.
Right.
And this is where the Dallimore thing came, and that's where Rick Crothall came in, and I brought my drummer, John Layler, in. We were a cracking band. Absolute cracking band, and then our greatest problem was we recorded an album 3 times with Ian Miller as producer, and Mark Opitz on the board, and after 3 times of trying to get that album past George and Harry, it just never got out, and there's some absolutely killer stuff, and it was doing me in, and I was too drunk in those days. But anyway, I was probably being a pain in the arse. I probably was, but a big pain in the arse. Anyway, I left, and that was just one of the
Didn't you want to do more guitar solos?
Yes, I did. I wouldn't have minded doing a couple, but I mean, like, that was a point at the time, but it was more... I didn't feel that it was going anywhere because we couldn't get past George and Harry.
Yeah.
So I had to go, and Jesus, that was hard life after that. But anyway, that leads into other adventures.
Well, that's right. It's all meant to be, because wasn't it soon after that Mick Cox was a bit unreliable in Rose Tattoo, and along comes Rockin Rob Riley?
Well... Right, Mick was playing up. He'd always been a drug addict and a shocker of a drunk, and he was a terrible guitar player, in my opinion. And I hated Rose Tattoo. I thought they were rubbish, absolute rubbish, because they used to support Red House at the Croxton Park Hotel every fourth Wednesday. That we would play there every second Wednesday. So I saw them, and I went, that is an absolute bag of shit. But, I didn't get all that crap. So anyway, they had a big single. I'm trying to step through this really quickly, but they had a big single called Rockin Roll Outlaw, and it went off in England, in London. And they were like number 9 or something, number 8 on the charts, and they were just packing them out wherever they go. And this is where Mick became a very naughty boy. And legend has it that he was with Bon Scott the night that he died. But anyway, he was playing up so badly that they had to sack him. Yeah. And that's when Dallas Royal, the drummer, rang me up. He'd ring me up every couple of weeks and he'd say, "Man, you've got to come over and join the band." I said, "Digger, I hate the band. I love you and I love Jordo, but I just hate the band. And I love Pete, But anyway, eventually I ended up going to London, my very first overseas jaunt, and that was the scariest thing I ever did. And anyway, I got over there, and I had 2 days to learn a whole set of their stuff to play my very first gig with Rose Tattoo at the Soho Club. What it was called? A very famous club. I can't remember. I've got a memory like a sieve, But anyway, we went and played it, and I didn't even know the songs. I had an idea how they went, but I didn't know what they were called. Angry would say, "Fuck, this one called..." And I'd go, and I'd say to Geordie, I said, "How's that one go?" And he goes, "Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, that one, right?" And off we go. So
you couldn't have done too badly.
It's absolutely frightening. It was terrifying. The joint's packed, and the line up down the street and around the block, it was incredible. Anyway, that's all history. So anyway, we went out and did all this touring, and it was great. It was great. And we went to America not long after that, and that was incredible. We spent 3 months there, and I don't remember much of that because I was pissed from one end of that to the other two, as we all were. But we got this close. We got this close to the big acts, where the big money lived, and the big success, and the big everything.
Missed by that much.
Missed much. Oh.
You are listening to Still Rocking It, the podcast with Cheryl Lee.
We'll hear more about the love-hate relationship between Angry and Rob after this song. I thought it was time for a Rose Tattoo song. One of the songs the boys wrote together, in fact, the title track of Scarred for Life. Here's Scarred for Life.
Anyway, Angry sold out to the record company, and Pete, the other guitar player, by those days, him and I became great friends, and Pete, it was his band. So anyway, this is how it all started. So Angry sold out to the record company, and Peter came down, we woke up, he says to me, because we roomed together, he said, "I'm leaving the band." And I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Angry sold out to the record company." I said, "That's a real shame." I said, "If you're leaving, well, I'm leaving.
If you leave me, can I come too?"
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a song in there.
Yeah. Quote me.
And anyway, I went downstairs and I said that Dig's sitting down there with Geordie, and I said, "Pete's leaving the band." And Pete explained why, and I said, "I'm leaving too." And Digger said, "Well, if you guys are leaving, I'm leaving." So the three of us left, and George said, "I'll stay." So he stayed on. And that's basically how that part of it all sort of started, Mm-hmm. And that was way back then. But
so you had pretty much 30 years on and off with Rose Tattoo. Can I quote you where you on and off you told them to stick it up their beep?
No, I didn't tell them. I told Angry. you know, because he's Rose Tattoo. There's nobody else is Rose Tattoo.
Yeah.
It's just angry.
Well, on a positive from then, you wrote We Can't Be Beaten with Angry. Great song, great Aussie anthem. And I think 3 other tracks too off the Scarred for Life album are yours.
Yes, I co-wrote. In other words, I'm the composer and he's an author.
Right.
That's how you define it. And,
lyrics.
And story. Well, that was We Can't Be Beaten, Scarred for Life, the title track, and Branded, and Work Itself Out. And they were the 4 singles that were pulled off the Scarred for Life album. So I was enormously proud of that.
Of course,
and,
you should be.
Good record, that one. And anyway, it went along and we did another album called Pain, and I wrote Pain and 3 other songs again. That's 8 songs all up that I have in the repertoire of Rose Tattoo. So I don't know, I'm not a very big player in it, but I mean, there's people that have been long there for longer, and I don't know where it all sort of goes to from that point, but you know, they're still out working around and stuff like that. Everybody's getting older.
Well, apart from those, you also have 3, 4 fabulous original songs that haven't been released yet.
Yes.
And we might have a listen to one of those now, if we can.
Love it.
Okay, well, we'll just keep it rolling now.
Alrighty.
And
we're back with...
Back with Rob Riley. Rob, can you get the camera? Okay. 5, 4, 3...
You're with Cheryl Lee, that radio chick for Mega Music TV. We are back with Rockin Rob Riley. Now, where to after Rose Tattoo? The Party Boys with Richard Clapton mainly?
Yes, well, I started with Richard Clapton because Harvey James from Sherbet had to go and do some stuff with Sherbet, and I did about 6 months of touring with Richard Clapton. I remember that was the time that Ralph wanted to go out and do some stuff, and Harvey was also playing in Richard Clapton's band, as well as Sherbet.
Very incestuous, Rob.
Yeah.
Everybody's played with everybody.
Except me. But anyway they played with here. But anyway, so that's when I joined the Party Boys, and when I joined, Strachan came in. I think I was in that lineup of the Party Boys for about 2.5 years or something. Did a lot of touring.
Still Rockin It podcast with that radio chick Cheryl Lee. The lineup of the Party Boys at that time in 1984 included founding members Kevin Borich, Paul Christie and Graham Bidstrup, along with former Skyhook singer Shirley Strachan and Rose Tattoo / Jimmy Barnes guitarist Robyn Riley. They released a live album, No Song Too Sacred, which included the Immigrant Song, a Led Zeppelin cover. Back to speak more with Rockin Rob Riley during his Mega Music TV interview very shortly. And you and Cheryl, you had a really strong bond, didn't you?
We struck up a fantastic relationship and a friendship, and we had a lot of fun. Every time we'd go out and do something, he'd drag me out, you know, like any interviews and stuff, because he's a mega, and he was just great fun. I loved him to death, and we used to do everything together when we were out on the road, you know. He laughed his guts out at me. He thought I was a great bunch of fun. But that was that, and, you know. But then the Party Boys, they carried on again with different members. I mean, Joe Walsh was the bloke that replaced me in the Party Boys, and so you can't get a better replacement than that.
No, he had big shoes to fill. Now, being a South Aussie girl, obviously...
I'm a Victorian, but I'm a South Australian too.
Yes.
I live in the land of the crow eater.
Yeah, good on you. I'm a Jimmy Barnes fan. Now, you even toured with Jimmy's band for a while, for the Working Class Man tour.
That's correct. That's absolutely correct. I was living in Perth at the time, and he tracked me down and said, I want you to come over and play in the band. And I didn't really know what was going on. I said, sure. He said, I'll pay you $500 a week. And he said, I'll look after you. I said, Jim, that sounds fantastic. He said, beautiful. He said, well, your ticket's waiting at the airport for you, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. So I went over there and had a few days to learn his stuff, you know, and so I go, Jesus, you know. So, and I replaced Chris Stockley from the Dingoes, who was playing in Jim's band, because he wanted a guitar player that had a bit more oomph.
A bit more grunt.
Yes, and so poor old Chris got...
The heave-ho?
Oh, poor bugger, you know, he got the gratuitous sit out the back and chopping up at the lines, you know, and saying, look, it's like this, you know, from Popey. But anyway, you know, that's the poor bugger. He was absolutely shocked and upset.
That's rock and roll, though, isn't it?
That's rock and roll.
That's rock and roll.
Can you ask that again?
Still going to hear the rain.
Yeah, but the rain is louder coming from out there.
If you actually push that other door too as well, just push that thing out of the door stop out of the way, but you're still going to hear the rain. It's like I
Yeah,
said.
it's ambient. We're in a man cave. We're going to hear the weather. It's all good.
So where were we?
I'm going to say to you, that's rock and roll, though, isn't it, Rob?
Yes.
That's rock and roll. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And you're still here. You must be a strong bugger.
They say only the good die young, so like I don't know what I've done wrong. So must have done something real
wrong.
bad.
So your tenure with Barnsley Incorporated finished when you were 29 because they wanted to get a whole bunch of younger people. Too old at 29.
That was how it happened, and everybody got their marching orders except for me because I don't know why, but I did nothing. Nobody ever said anything. I was just go. And Bruce Howe, that's how I met Bruce Howe, the bloke that brought me to Adelaide, and I played in a band with him, and I struck up a fantastic relationship and brotherhood with him, and I actually came to Adelaide with Bruce because I didn't want to go back home to Melbourne, and I didn't want to stay in Sydney.
And then you found a good woman.
Oh, yes. Well, not the one I'm with now. You know, but I did find her eventually. But
behind every great guitarist is a good woman.
Well, that's what they say. That's what they
say. So you stay here for love.
Well, only that. Well, not only that, it's very comfortable where I am.
And you've got a pretty good man cave here.
I reckon it's the best.
Yeah.
I love it.
The last time I saw you live on stage was during COVID with The Boys Are Stuck in Town out at the Bridgeway. How good was that?
I don't know. How good was it?
Can't you remember?
Yeah, I do remember, but the way I was looking at you, I'm looking, is this any good? See, I've got no idea how good it is or how bad it is.
Well, you know what? We were just so happy, as I think were you guys, we were the punters, just so happy to be out, being able to watch live music again. And I think you guys were just as happy to be able to be performing live again. Yeah, because when this whole COVID thing started, I was over in Tasmania in Launceston visiting with my little brother and a mate of mine, Jim Garlick, and I'll never forget it. I was supposed to do two weeks over there and going out and hanging with my little brother and stuff, blah blah blah. And they dropped the curtain on locking the borders and the big COVID thing, and I got the last train out of Clarksville. In other words, the last spirit to leave Tasmania. We had to get there in 2 or 3 hours, and I had to get over there and then get the spirit back. And this was when they were dropping everything. And then I got to Victoria, then I had to get down to Geelong, pick up my car, and then I put my best Peter Brock hat on, and I just did a gun run all the way home because I didn't want to get stuck. And so I've been in lockup ever since. Have you?
I've been here ever since.
Yeah.
2.5 years now.
Self-imposed.
Loving it.
I bet you are.
Loving it.
What better place to be in lockdown?
Oh, I love it.
You've got your music, your instruments, your...
Tools.
Yeah, tools, your car.
Truck.
What more? Truck. What more would you want?
Nothing.
You are listening to Still Rocking It, the podcast with Cheryl Lee.
We'll be back to listen to the last little bit of the television interview with Rockin Rob Riley shortly, but I think let's listen to the Dallimore song, We Are the Kids. Just recently... Rose Tattoo have lost a guitarist.
I didn't know.
I
don't take any notice.
We're not going to see you out guitaring with Rose Tattoo anytime soon. Rob Spencer's left.
Bob Spencer's left. Jesus Christ.
There you go. There's another scoop.
Look, some months back, I spoke with Angry and stuff, and I was asked to join the band, and I said, I'd love to. I would absolutely love to. But no.
Stick it up your...
No. No, I said, no, I'd love to. I said, I'd love to join. I said, but I'm not going to do anything like that because I'm not going out while all this COVID's going around.
Yeah.
I said, because number one, and the only reason is I will not get blamed for anything ever again. So in other words, if I got sick, I'd get, because the whole tour would come down. So it doesn't matter who
So
gets
Rob
sick.
Riley killed Rose Tattoo. You don't want that headline.
Rob Riley's done more than anybody can possibly ever do, you know. Like, I mean, some of the shit I hear about myself is unbelievable. Well, hey, Rob, not Superman, you know.
Are you sure? I haven't seen you and Superman in the same room.
We look very similar.
Now, you've also played with Kevin Borich. You also played with Matt Finish. You truly are one of Australia's music legends, and I really appreciate you and your time today, letting me, a lowly female, into your beautiful man cave and having a chat.
Lowly female, what did Jesus Christ? The world goes round with women.
Of course, yeah. But I think we should go and fiddle with your car now. I brought my screwdriver.
That's exactly what I need. That's perfect.
I know
Perfect.
that's not a screwdriver, though. It's a hammer.
That's a left-handed hammer too. You see how it goes to one side?
Right.
No, left.
I see what you did there. Anyway, we are going to go out with one of your singles.
Yeah.
New singles?
Yeah, well, nobody's ever seen it, so it's new.
Hidden
It's
scoop.
new. I'll get around to releasing all this very, very, very shortly because I forgot that I didn't
Ever release it?
Release it. So yes,
I'm not surprised that you forgot. You've had a bit of a rock and roll life.
It's probably that I didn't forget. It's probably just I don't want to do it yet because I've got to get a few other things going because I've got plenty of stuff to do, like music and stuff like that. So I'm just got to put a few simple film clips together and get them up on YouTube and all that sort of stuff. I've been asking Sue to do it for decades now, but
Sue, our producer and director. You prove my theory. Rock and roll is the fountain of youth.
no, it's not. No.
Would you like to throw to your clip?
Here it comes, music lovers. Need your love so badly.
Still Rockin' It podcast with that radio chick, Cheryl Lee. I so hope you've enjoyed being a fly on the wall during the filming of the interview with Rockin Rob Riley. If you want to hear his previously unreleased song, I Need Your Love So Badly, you're going to have to wait until Series 3 of Mega Music comes out. In the meantime, I think we'll go out with the hit from Rose Tattoo, written by the songwriting team of Angry Anderson and Robyn Riley, We Can't Be Beaten, from the Scarred for Life album. You're with Cheryl Lee, that radio chick. Thank you so much for joining me on the Still Rocking It podcast. Hope to catch you again next time. Get out when you can, support Aussie music, and I'll see you down the front.